สวัสดีนะคะGood morning คุณเวจาดาระ CEO Moody's Asia Pacific Middle East คุณเคนนิชิยามาโตะ President and CEO of Bank of Ayutthaya and คุณชนานันท์สุภาดุล Bank of Thailand คุณกอบศักดิ์ดวงดี Secretary General of Thai Bankers Association Speakers and all bank members. In working towards sustainability, the transition period is critical period, and we must be ready to adapt and brace for all forms of challenges, both within and beyond our control. But we must maintain a balance between business continuity and environmental conservation. With a strategically managed approach, I believe that everyone here is also engaged in this important transition. Last year, during the COP29 conference, WMO released the State of the Climate 2024 report, highlighting that the Paris Agreement's target is at a very critical point. The key point of the report stated that last year, the average global temperature rose by 1.54 degrees Celsius, making the hottest year in the past decade. With ocean temperature also increasing significantly. Extreme weather events have caused immense human and economic losses. The Secretary General of WMO said that the rise in temperature is a serious matter, but it does not necessarily mean that we will fail to meet the Paris Agreement goals. Let's take a look at the impact of the climate change. Thailand ranked 9th in the 2021 Global Climate Risk Index in terms of the impact of climate change on its economy and population. However, the latest 2025 Climate Risk Index report, Thailand has dropped out of the high-risk country ranking. It's now ranked 30th, down from the 9th place. Reporting the report, the report is 4 years ago. The reason for Thai's better ranking is that other countries have faced more severe losses and damages from extreme weather disaster. So it does not mean that the risk has diminished. Thailand will continue to face various impacts such as record high temperature during the summer drought, unusual heavy rainfall leading to flood, landslide, and more. So we must continue to prepare for and adapt to climate change. A prerequisite factor for the transition towards sustainability or reducing various risks is finance. This is evidence from the COP29 meeting, where leaders from around the world gather and raise financial support as a core issue that they must jointly agree upon sustainability efforts, leading COP29 to be called the Finance COP. One key takeaway from the recent COP29 was the increase in climate finance from developed to developing country, from the previous target of $100 billion per year to $300 billion per year, by 2035. While this may seem like a substantial amount, economists estimate the developing country will need to access at least $1 trillion US dollar annually by the end of this decade to support their transition efforts. This has led developing nations to argue that the new target is too low, whereas the developed country see it as too high and burdensome, given that the number of developed nations bearing the target remains unchanged. Regarding investment, let's take a look at this picture. More than 75% of climate finance concentrate in North America, Western Europe, and China. If this fund flow were more evenly distributed, we would see significant advancement in various technologies, particularly in energy and transportation sectors, which require additional substantial investment. Thus, the key barrier to attracting investment include lack of confidence in policy and greenhouse gas reduction guidelines that align with each country's specific context, the uncertainty regarding standard and taxonomies. These challenges must be addressed to build investor confidence and facilitate capital inflows. Additionally, developed countries are more advanced in technology and have clearer policy framework compared to developing nations. Therefore, collaboration between developed and developing countries will be crucial in scaling up sustainable finance effectively. The government is also actively involved and also has introduced several regulations, including foreign policy, a policy that has been widely discussed over the past 2 years is the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or the other words, CBAM. This will result in increased costs of products that fail to reduce greenhouse gas emission. For Thailand policy, a significant policy is the Climate Change Act, which is expected to be enacted soon. The key provisions include mandatory greenhouse gas emission reporting for businesses, the implementation of carbon emission trading scheme, and the introduction of a carbon tax. Companies that exceed the state-imposed emission threshold will be subject to fines. All these measures will impact costs, making early adaptation essential. For Thai banking sector perspective, Bank of Thailand as a regulatory agency, has actively implemented various initiatives since 2022. One key development was the introduction of the Bank of Thailand directional papers on financial landscape, which set the strategic direction for Thailand financial sector. In collaboration with government agencies, banks, and businesses, the Bank of Thailand has also developed the Thailand taxonomy, a standardized framework for classifying environmentally sustainable economic activity. Additionally, Bank of Thailand has issued standard practice to provide a framework for banks in incorporating environmental aspects into their operation. To support this effort, the Thai Banker Association has contributed by developing an industry handbook which serves as a guideline for banks to align their operation with standard practice. Therefore, it is evident that climate transition requires collaboration across all sectors to achieve successful and sustainable transition. From recent discussion with clients across various business sectors, we have found that the primary driver for their desire to reduce greenhouse gas emission are pressure from regulatory measures and demand from customers within their supply chain. These two factors are key drivers for their desire to transform, but there are still many challenges in making that transition as shown on the left side on this slide. The main driving force of the transition has shown on the right side of the slide are clarity of government policy, certainty of timeline for the regulation enforcement, various incentives for business and banks to accelerate the transition, alignment with law and policy and regulation to ensure consistency, enabling everyone in the country to transition in a unified direction, such as the net zero targets, Thailand taxonomy, and green finance framework. Lastly, let me compare this matter with Formula One, F1. At first glance, Formula One may seem like a sport that requires only the high capability of the racer, or rely on the engine and design of the car. But actually, it is a sport that also relies heavily on the team unity. Likewise, to transition resiliency and sustainably in climate change matters, we cannot just speed up. We must assess the risks, consider the context of in each area, the readiness, technology, regulation, and then proceed with strategy to ensure safe transition. None of this can be achieved by only one organization. It requires collaboration, synchronization across the entire ecosystem. Therefore, I would like to conclude by emphasizing that everyone must work together in unity with speed and safety and know our own responsibility, all with a common target of sustainable resilience. Thank you.